Hello, future viewers! We have a new chapter of Battle Engine Aquila today. And by new, I mean it came out at the exact time this game did, which was some years ago. Also, this game won't allow multiplayer because it can't detect controllers, which kind of shows off how obvious it is as a port from console games, but that's okay. The gameplay seems to work just fine. In fact, I'd say mouse aim works a fair bit better than controller aim, but that's a controversy thing, so I'm not going to go further into that. Well, we have a water map, which means probably not too many ground targets. Probably don't need spread bombs. Also, we do not have the ability to select Lieutenant Fox, who we never select anyway, so that's alright. And we have Lieutenant Fox and a wingman who is just vaporized. Rip wingman. We'll show how much respect that particular person gets in a little bit.
They've got some kind of stealth device. I'm ejecting! Mayday! Mayday!
What was her last known location?
It looks like she went down about 5 clicks northeast of our current position.
Major Lorenzo, get your guys in the air. We'll be there as soon as we can.
One of the nice things about micro missiles is that they do just seek out anything without directly targeting them. And that's very handy for getting rid of these mines early, although missiles sometimes just kind of do what they want, even when you try to aim at something, which is why I have to deal with that last one manually. We have a new kind of enemy fighter here. The main notable thing about them is that they fire more missiles at a time than the old type, and they're a little bit slower, but the missile part is probably more important.
You're taking damage.
So if you don't know how to do a barrel roll, you could be in a little bit of trouble. I also brought Lorenzo with us because this is an air-to-air mission. He usually takes out roughly 1 or 2 enemies. He actually doesn't do so well against this new type of fighter. That's okay, because we can handle him.
We intercepted a transmission from one of those fighters. We're decoding it now. Hawk, we've only managed to decrypt one word.
I think it would be interesting if, for maps like this, the game, and story-wise, made some modifications to your machine that it was in flight mode, so you don't have to worry about fuel, but you also cannot land.
What kind of fighter is that?
There's an enemy battleship.
It makes more sense than sending you out on an ocean mission and just hoping that there are buildings sticking out of the water for you to land on.
Kill confirmed.
Now, Carver himself, he's a little too slippery for missiles, but as you can see, Vulcans take care of him just fine. Once you're on his tail, he can't really escape.
Carver has retweeted.
And auto lock on with the Vulcan works just fine on him. Now, if I was being really smooth about this, I would lead the fight towards that battleship that I have to fight anyway and land on it instead of taking some extra time to land on that building, but it's okay. Doesn't actually affect our ability to complete the mission. Might decrease our rank a little due to taking longer, but I don't care enough. Like, I like playing for rank to the best of my ability, but this is not really a game where I'll repeat a mission a whole bunch just to increase rank some. Not that I have anything against people who like the game enough to do that. That's certainly a valid way to play the game. I think that would be a little more enticing if the game was more transparent on how to get better ranks for any particular mission. That's just me, though. We lost a good pilot out there. Ooh, that other guy gets no respect. I mean, they make a big deal about Fox being captured, too. You'll see that in the mission design here. Yeah, there's a lot of enemy buildings, and we're not allowed to attack most of them because Tara could be in any of them. Ooh, that's actually going to cause a couple of problems for us, but we'll deal with it. And for a couple of missions, actually for several missions, Fox is not going to be available, but as I said, no big deal.
Believe you me, we will get her back. Until then, I need you all on the ball. We've got a job to do and we're gonna get it done.
What the hell are those fighters?
We don't know. Miss Kirilova?
As far as we can tell, it appears the Muspel have developed a sophisticated stealth device. We're working on a solution, but if we could recover one of those devices, it would help a lot.
Recover? If I see one, I'm taking it down.
In Hawk's defense, this setting doesn't really seem to have technology that allows you to capture enemy units.
7 minutes before our air support arrives. It's imperative most of the air defenses are down by then.
Well, we have a couple of things to deal with. One is that Carver is here. He's going to show up for every mission for the rest of this chapter, which, okay, that's 3 missions, but still. You fight him the same way every time. He doesn't really change his tactics much. I do have to deal with him, though, otherwise he's going to strafe the forces that we have to protect.
He's cloaked. That thing's got a cloaking device.
So, aside from protecting our landing forces, we do have a lot of anti-air buildings to deal with. And I brought Lorenzo again with me, even though the targets are mostly, or pretty much all ground. Because there are a whole bunch of fighters in this mission, and they're going to cause trouble for me when I travel around the map shooting down stuff from the air. Also, what I just did right there, you can make use of your allied forces by waiting for them to make contact with the enemy and then landing near the enemy. They will turn to shoot at you while your allies shoot at them, and it's very helpful in some places, both for completing things faster and for preserving your allies. Yeah, these are the 2 buildings that we're allowed to attack, and it's a good idea to do so because they produce a lot of infantry, and we don't have a whole lot of allied infantry to deal with them. It's also helpful in general to know what paths your allies are going to take and which enemies are going to, how shall I say, cross that path and cause the most trouble. That's just basic common sense routing. I don't mind that kind of paying attention to the map at all.
Pulse cannon augmented.
Now, there is a little bit of a problem that there are factories producing enemy tanks just a little bit ahead, and I'm not allowed to destroy them. But getting rid of the tanks that are grouped up here is good enough. You do have to be a little careful about your movement because these tanks do fire double shots. Also, if one of your allies misses and hits a building by accident, or for that matter if enemies do it, you get yelled at as though you're the one firing, which is, well, it's annoying, but I can understand why they had it done that way, because most of the time it probably would be because the player missed an enemy tank or something and hit the building. Still, kinda wish the game would detect sort of something like that. Also, the spread bomb is very nice here. 1 bomb is enough to deal with one of the targets, and landing them is pretty easy. You can see the reticle zoom in when it would be a direct hit, so you don't really need to spend too much time confirming your shots.
Damn, I'm gonna have to pull back.
Well, that's fine. He got rid of enough of the fighters that I can travel around reasonably safely. That's a bit of luck right there. it's possible for him to get shot down early, and I'd have to do a lot of barrel rolls while moving around.
75% of the flak turrets are down.
But that's just another thing to keep in mind while playing through the mission.
All SAM sites destroyed. Well done, son. Now bring the ventilation back to the repair pad on the Marshall. Do not attack the building's turret inside.
Well, the enemy worked pretty hard to stop me from being able to take off again.
So make sure the mission is completed.
That was one of the few cases where sidestepping might have been useful. But on the ground it actually isn't as big a deal because regenerating shields. Once again, it just slows me down a little bit. It probably would be a big deal if playing for rank, and if I was doing that, I'd have to learn the sidestep timing for real, which would be very annoying because of how finicky it is. Also, that repair pad is its own object, and if the Marshal is attacked, the pad can be destroyed on its own, which is annoying if you need to restore ammo. At the same time, it seems like a thing that could happen, so, I mean, destructible parts, I can't really say, oh, I wish that was not something they added to the game, because it's actually a nice feature. Kinda wish more things in the game worked that way.
She's not saying anything.
She will. She's sensible. In the meantime, I want you to get rid of that machine once and for all.
My pleasure. I'll be back for you later.
He's not a proper villain until we have a nice creepy moment for him.
Make sure the majority of the Forseti force survives. Raise all buildings and destroy all enemy units.
Right. That's because we somehow confirmed that Terra is no longer here. Anyway, this mission is a little faster and a little more straightforward than the previous one. And it is easier, and that's actually kind of reasonable. We just spent a mission softening up the defenses so that the main invasion would go more smoothly. And lo and behold, it is going more smoothly. Now, I ran into a little trouble because whenever I targeted one of those fighters to help keep Casbah healthy, the fighter just flew away from me at full speed, which is a good survival tactic. It does actually move faster than I do, and it does waste some of my time. Anyway, he said raise all buildings, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I have the right tools. Also, as always, pay attention to enemy artillery. And oh hey, Carver is here again. Now, Carver seems to have a bug. I don't know if that's the case in every version, or just for the PC version, which is what I'm playing. The way he's supposed to work is every time you damage him a chunk, he cloaks up. But if you bump into him, he just disappears entirely, and the game treats it as you shot him down. For the final time, since this is the end of the chapter. So I didn't bump into him on purpose. I'm not that precise, although I wish I was. Just something that happens since he tends to fly close to you. Also, I like it. I don't actually like it. I find it annoying when there's a whole bunch of red dots on the map and it turns out that they're just one or two infantry units. But that's a minor gripe.
Spray.
As a matter of fact, Casbah has been so busy destroying tanks and such that I don't really have much else to do. And once again, that fighter saw me targeting him and ran away. I don't think I've seen that happen elsewhere in the game. It'd be interesting if more of the pilots are smarter like that. But Carver, for example, he doesn't really try that hard to get away from you. Yeah, Casbah was the real MVP for this one.
Air base was destroyed, and that traitor will soon be in our hands.
Well, hello.
Colonel Kramer, good to see you again.
You've lost, Carver. I guess you were just not good enough.
No, wait a second there, Colonel. You can still use me. I can tell you everything about the Muspel offensive. I know base locations, code encryptions.
I like to imagine that he has a button specifically for killing Carver.
Medic.
Like, that isn't a kill button for whoever he happens to be watching on camera. That's just a kill Carver button. Well, I just said that I don't fret too much about rank. It is nice to get at least one S rank on this session. I'd like to get one per session, but who knows. Also, this last part of the game is pretty long, so I'm going to break that up into 2 videos. For now, let's take a look at some more of those concept art pieces here. Well, I like these, especially the heavy lifter stuff. They went through a lot of work to make this resemble the battle engine. I think that's a pretty nice hint, although that kind of makes me wonder why they didn't mass produce something similar to it. Well, maybe they haven't had the chance to yet, but still. I kind of like the way they show the preliminary work for these cutscene locations. That's something you don't see very often. Also, about the last couple of bosses I dealt with, the crab thing and the hive boss that flew up in the air. I thought that was the satellite, and it had landed just to recharge so it could be fired up into orbit to vaporize another town or base or whatever. But no, the satellite was still up there. The hive was just a thing made to defend the base, which makes its design make a lot more sense. Well, I think that's it for now. I'll see you next time.